So a couple of weeks ago I posted a video about casting lead on a hobo budget. If you haven't seen that, what I did was used a soup can, just a typical 19 ounce I think it was, steel soup can, and used that as my melting pot, and so basically free. And I used a cheap stamped stainless steel teaspoon as a ladle, and I bought those teaspoons at Walmart a long time ago. I think it's one of the ones that I bought there, and if I remember right, I gave like $1 for half a dozen of them or something. But anyway, after I made that video, I decided to research a little bit. Now, I mean, I've got electric lead melting pots and some cast iron melting pots, including some that I just picked up at yard sales and flea markets, stuff like that. And I like to have, one to melt down scrap lead, to clean it up and alloy it the way I need it, and one for like wheel weight metal, which is mostly lead with antimony in it, and maybe a trace amount of tin, but mostly they just have antimony. And then one for pure lead, or as pure as I can get it anyway, because there are some applications that call for pure soft lead. And so I like to have different pots, for different purposes. But I got to thinking again about one to use while on the go, and it's also really good for somebody just starting out. And like I said in the past, in the other video, I actually started out using a steel soup can, and I used it as my only melting pot for a little while, and then I started using it as my pure lead melting pot while I had a better pot for, daily use or whatever, or for more common use anyway. But, and it's still a good thing aside from having something inexpensive to start out with. It's a good thing to have something that you can travel with, something you can have in your truck or Jeep or whatever. Even, you're not packing a whole lot of lead if you're backpacking, probably. And, a cast iron pot is heavy, but it's not as heavy as lead. But you might pack a little bit along. I don't know. Whatever your needs are, though, I decided to look for a small, inexpensive melting pot that would be a step up from using a soup can. And this is what I found. I saw quite a few of them, actually. I saw some Chinese ones, and they were like $10 or $12, some of the small Chinese ones. But this one is a Lodge, and it's intended for melting or for heating sauce, for barbecue sauce and so on. And it actually came with a silicone brush, and the silicone brush, I'm sure, is made in China. But I'll use that for my regular sauce pot that I use when I heat barbecue sauce. But use it for brushing the sauce on some chicken that I'm barbecuing or whatever. But great thing about this is, including the brush, it was only about $15, and it is made in the United States. In fact, it's made very close to me. The Lodge foundry is just basically down the road from me. But now I haven't even heated it yet. It's got the factory seasoning on it. But I'm not going to use this one for food, I'm going to use it for lead. And by the way, if you ever use one for lead, any kind of pot, never use it for food after you've used it for lead. But, so, if you've got one of these, you know, one of the things I like about it too is it's got a pouring spout on both sides. So while you will need a welder's glove, or you know, at least a cutoff from a pair of old blue jeans or something to be able to handle it once it's hot, or you could just get a couple of hose clamps and hose clamp a stick to it to extend the handle. That's another way to do it. But you know, as long as you've got a way to handle it, you don't necessarily even need a ladle with this, because you can pour directly into the mold. And a spoon will still be good to help you flux the pot, but you could actually use a stick for that too. But you can heat it on a hot plate, a camp stove, barbecue grill, either charcoal or gas, a propane or butane or gasoline camp stove, or whatever you have. Or you can build a little campfire and heat it with that. What I'm going to do is, now what I did with the other one is I had 3 bricks, and I put some charcoal in between the bricks and lit them and set the can on the bricks. What I'm going to do with this one is, I've got an old brake drum there, and it's setting on the bricks, 4 bricks this time, to kind of level it up. And I put charcoal in the brake drum, and I actually have a soup can underneath it to block off the hole in the center so the charcoal doesn't fall out. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. And oh, I forgot, you can also use a blowtorch, either a modern propane one or one of the antique gasoline torches. But and in that other video I did actually use a combination of charcoal and a propane blowtorch. But that being said, let's go ahead and set it in the coals here and let it start preheating. Now, if you don't use a propane torch or something, it's going to take longer to melt the lead, but it will do it. Okay. I'm not 100% sure how much lead this pot holds, but I'd say it probably comfortably holds at least 10 pounds. 10 pounds, by the way, equates to about 70,000 grains. Now, it's really looking like it's going to rain, and that brings me to some safety concerns. So, first of all, wear closed-toe leather shoes, and probably some cotton socks, which I'm wearing. And boots are better, but if you wear boots, be sure and wear your pants on the outside, not tucked in. And wear long pants, preferably cotton. I like to wear plain old cotton blue jeans. And it's good to wear, you definitely need to wear cotton or some sort of natural fiber in your shirt too, in your shirt, pants, socks, everything. Natural fibers. Uh-oh, I just felt a drop. Wear eye protection. And the reason I'm saying all this is it's dangerous right now. It's starting to rain. But, so let me grab something real quick. Okay. So like I said, wear eye protection. It is starting to rain. It's really starting to rain. So wear eye protection. And like I said, the natural fibers. And the reason is not only are you dealing with heat, but if one drop of water gets into that, rain or whatever, you will get what we who often melt and cast with lead refer to as the tinsel factory. A visit from the wind too, of course. A visit from the tinsel factory, which means that drop of water hits the pot, hits the surface of the lead, and the lead explodes, and just, a thin sheet of lead explodes everywhere. And that sounds horrible, and it's pretty bad. It's not as bad, perhaps, as it sounds, because that sounds like, devastation. But the fact is, this is not theory with me, because I've had it happen to me a few times. And it's, like I said, it's not as bad as it sounds, as long as you're wearing eye protection and, clothing that won't melt when molten lead hits it. It's not any worse than, say, not much worse anyway, than, say, welding and getting a little bit of spatter from the little bit of weld spatter on you. If you're wearing natural fibers, it's going to stop when it hits that. But if you're wearing polyester, say, or whatever, then it'll melt holes in it and it'll stick to you. So the plastic will stick to you is what I'm saying. So and it could even catch fire. So you want to make sure that doesn't happen to you by wearing natural fibers and by covering exposed skin as much as possible. Although I have had it hit my exposed skin and it burned, but not terribly so. Okay, with that said, I don't think I've stated this already, but I will put, if you want one of these pots, I'll put a link to it in the video description. So I would appreciate it if you use that link if you want one of these, because I make a small commission if you do so at no additional cost to you. So I appreciate any help you can give me. And with that said, let's go ahead and see how it works. I'm wearing a welder's glove so that I can pick it up by the handle, but there are any number of ways to be able to do that if you don't have a welder's glove, like, a thick pad cut out of some old blue jeans or something. And it's still, there's a little bit of a few drops of rain, but we're going to pour it quickly, so maybe we won't get the tinsel factory. I mean the tinsel fairy. We won't get a visit from same. So, one good thing about aluminum foil is it disperses heat quickly. So even though it's hot in the center, you can pick it up by the edge. But a piece of wood, a piece of thin plywood or something, is probably better because the wind's not going to blow it away. Or if it is, you're not going to want to be out there casting in it anyway. So, hopefully this is hot enough. The mold, I mean. So right now I'm just holding the aluminum foil over it to keep the raindrops out of it. But right now I'm not feeling any. I definitely was a couple of minutes ago. But here we go. Whoa, that is heavy. Hot too. All right. Yeah. Even with the welder's glove. So it would really be a good thing to put a wooden handle on that. But it was doable. So let's open this, and again, this is approximately 1/3 inch lead balls. But in this case, instead of just being one of them, this casts 18 of them at one shot. Now another thing, the sprue that comes out, that just hit the ground, which is kind of wet. So you don't want to put stuff in it that might have water in it. Like, for example, if you've got some wheel weights that have been sitting in a pot or whatever, a box or whatever, where it might have gathered some water, and you start putting those in a pot of already melted lead, you might get a visit from the tinsel factory. Okay, so let's open this and see what we've got. Now I usually use a hammer handle and tap it right here at the hinge to get these things to fall out. But that's probably actually cool enough to touch by now. Yeah. Touch but not pick up. So they come out stuck together, 3 of them stuck together, and you just kind of use wire cutters or whatever to break them apart. So it comes with 6 pieces of 3, so that's 18. So you can cast a whole bunch of them in a short amount of time with that. And let's take a look. Even with that big sprue gone, we've still got enough for at least one more pour. Let's zoom in for a closer look. It is raining. I hope we're not going to get an explosion here. It's raining kind of sporadically. Nope, that's not going to work either. Not perfect, but hopefully it'll give it enough time to cool down. So I could replenish the lead supply and set it back in the coals and continue with this. but I'm not going to. Not today. But it works. So, thanks for watching.